a question, a curiosity. We don't filter what we hear through, what do I already understand about this? Or
Cindy, thank you very much for agreeing to my invitation, for joining this podcast.
it's
And
an honor.
yeah, so it's brilliant how ICF connects people from different continents and gets them together. So I'm amazed. I mean, different time zones, different cultures. Although, I mean, knowing you, you spent a lot of time in the region that I belong to. But would it be a good idea to just give a few brief lines about yourself, so that we
Sure.
can kick off the program with the introduction? And before that, I would like to congratulate you for being chosen as the Global Community Ambassador.
Thank
That's a
you. And
big
you as
achievement.
well.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. So, I mean, for the people who will watch it, so it is a communication between two global community ambassadors. And the intention of this podcast would be to make people aware of what we do and how we have benefited from getting into coaching, learning about coaching. And if we can share what we've learned with the people around us, and if they can pick up a few things and benefit from it, that is the entire objective of we talking to each other. So to begin with, I think it would be a good idea to just hear a few things about you, Cindy.
Sure. I've been on my ICF coaching journey since about 2015, and I came into coaching while living overseas, working and involved in humanitarian aid and community development work. Came into understanding what coaching is and really believed that it had a lot to offer for resilience, for sustainability in terms of how we are able to work across cultures and work in the idea of offering something to one another, that coaching has a lot to offer there. And so that was what got me interested in it. And I'm living now back in my land of my birth in New Mexico in the United States, a long ways from Mumbai.
Oh, yes,
But
okay.
as you said, what an exciting thing that an organization like ICF has us sitting here talking with each other at 8 o'clock in the morning for me and 8:30 in the evening for you.
Absolutely.
What a thrill, what an honor. I would have not otherwise be privileged to have this conversation. So I'm grateful to ICF for that.
Absolutely. Same here, same here. I mean, they got us together, different cultures, different backgrounds, different environments, identities, values, beliefs, principles, which are, according to me, the foundation of coaching. So,
Yes.
if you allow me, I would just like to speak a few words about myself. I mean,
Yes.
basically, I started as a marine engineer, worked on engines on ships for almost 10 years. I served as chief engineer for 4 years out of the 10 years I spent out at sea. Uh, I think I can proudly say that I've been to practically every part of the world where there is water around a land body. I mean, so wherever the ships can go, I have been to that particular place. So that has given me a very wide exposure to different cultures, different countries, different people, and but it's been 35 years I spent out there. I was more like an accidental coach. Uh, my company said, you're leading more than 2,500 people. You must integrate coaching into your leadership. Firstly, I never thought leadership is an acquired position. Leadership is a responsibility, and it all depends on the way you uh, exhibit that responsibility or you take care of that responsibility. People call you a leader, but you cannot announce yourself as a leader. So coaching made me realize all these things, that leadership's just a position. But if you integrate coaching into your leadership, the best shift in your thought process that happens is that instead of telling people what needs to be done, you start asking people what can be done. And when you start asking people what can be done, you actually give them an avenue to explore their own potentials, and you can actually help them to bring out the best in their potentials. So this is how I became a coach. And then I continued the journey the way you continued. I think we didn't stop at ACC. We went on to became MCC, ACTC, and whatever were the certifications. I run my own institute where I provide ICF certifications. So that's who I am. And thank you very much for allowing me to introduce myself. So, Cindy, I thought for the benefit of people, I mean, when there are two global community ambassadors who are talking to each other,
Mhm.
for the benefit of viewers, and especially when you are very much into coaching supervision and mentoring, would you be in a position to let people know the difference between coaching and the other modalities that are there?
Yes, it is very different. Coaching is its own way of being with someone, of partnering with someone, of providing a support. And it's never to say that the other ways are not valid or important or they have their place. Things like mentoring, where we are offering out of our own experience something that we think would be helpful to someone who wants to learn from our experience. So our experience in a mentoring partnership plays a very important role. If I'm mentoring someone, it's sharing out of my experience to offer that to them, and they want to receive that. And there's a role for that, but it's not coaching. Consulting also is offering out of my knowledge, my experience, my perspective on something is a very important part of a consultative partnership. I may ask questions, but it's going to be for the purpose of sorting through what I know in order to know what to offer back. Again, a very valuable and important and often needed type of relationship, but it's not coaching. Psychotherapy, counseling, therapy, so valuable, so needed. But again, it's coming, the point of reference is my experience, my understanding that I am giving to someone else by their request and of value, but it's not coaching. Coaching to me is very much an equal partnership. It's equal in terms of we each play a role to make that partnership work. It doesn't mean I don't bring anything. I bring all of who I am, and I bring all the skills that I've learned that are coaching, but it's all for the purpose of, like you said, drawing out, elevating, inspiring even someone to reach their potential. And what they have to bring into that partnership is equal to the skills that I bring. So it's a very different way of partnering.
Brilliant, brilliant. I think very well articulated, very well explained. And to add my perspective to it was that uh, being a managing director of a shipping company, I'll just put some practical background to whatever you said.
Mm.
Uh, I used to tell people what needs to be done because they thought that this person has the maximum experience within our organization. This person can tell us how to do things. But while I told them, I just realized after learning coaching that I can only bring them up to my level of competencies.
Mm.
Because if I tell them to do a job in a particular way, they can come up to my level of competency. But if I ask them, I say, what can you do? If I explore into their potentials, I ask them questions which actually make them feel a little bit challenged. Then they start exploring within, and then you have a team which is created, which may be better than you at the competency which the company requires at that point of time. So, a leader who can create people who have more competency than the leader himself, I
Mm,
think that is what coaching does to an individual who is doing any other thing. As you very correctly pointed out, consulting, physiotherapy, or psychotherapy, or any other part of mentoring, we tell people what to do based on our experience, based on
mm,
our background, based on our knowledge in that specific field,
right.
right? In coaching, I think we get into a journey of unknown because if you talk about what you know and I talk about what we know, I think it will be only an exhibition of knowledge that you know something. Okay, I also know something.
Right.
But when we get into the unknown, okay, I don't know this, and you explore, and we figure out something under the that I don't know or unknown, then that's something that is, I think, that eureka moment that we get that wow, I explored something new in myself. So that is the brilliance of coaching, as I can say.
Yes.
Not undermining at all the other modalities, but unfortunately or fortunately, I am a trained coach, so I can only talk about my subject. So on other subjects, I don't have the authority. And to sum it up for coaching, I feel we are external eyes and ears for a person. We rent
Mm,
out our brains, our eyes and ears to a person for that particular period of time. And we carry a small mirror with us. Whatever we see, whatever we hear, we show them the mirror and say, this is what you are saying. And there is a possibility that you may have more in you than you thought that you had. And when that comes out, I think coaching becomes a very happy and a brilliant profession to be in,
absolutely.
right? So,
Yes.
so this is, I think this was for the benefit of people who are not aware of what coaching is all about.
Hmm.
Now, talking about the people who are already in the coaching profession, if we were to help them out, say, suppose a person comes to you and says, Cindy, I have so and so thing that I'm trying to overcome. So, how do we train our minds to listen to them and become sensitive to uh, where they are coming from? What are your views on that?
Mm. Well, I do think it is a training of our mind. And I like how ICF has a whole competency designed to address this. And I actually really appreciate the wording they've used, even in naming the competency, embodying a coaching mindset.
Absolutely.
It doesn't say understanding a coaching mindset. It doesn't say learning a coaching mindset. It says embodying.
Correct.
And to me, what that's saying is there is a certain mindset. And if we expand even on that word, there's a way of seeing people. There's a way of processing what we hear. There's a way of there's a some neural pathways that begin to be developed where when we hear something, we hear it a certain way. And that's primarily with a, a question, a curiosity. We don't filter what we hear through what do I already understand about this? Or how do I analyze this? Or how do I evaluate it or interpret it or draw conclusions? We hear it first and foremost with curiosity. We go immediately to the what do I not yet know about this
Absolutely.
person, this situation, what you said, that unknown. And I do think it takes training. I don't think that by default humanity is comfortable with first approaching things from a perspective of what do I not know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then such a beautiful, I would like to quote Peter Thiel out here. I mean, he said the best ideas of business come from a contrarian question, he said. Peter Thiel wrote a book called Zero to One. I'm quoting something from there. He said, what is it that you strongly believe in that people don't agree with you on? What is it that you strongly believe in which people don't agree with you? It is such a contrarian question. I believe in a lot of things, but people don't agree. And if I can create something where people can actually start believing in my concept, then I have a business idea in my mind. And the day you have people believe in what you feel strongly about, you can actually start charging money for that. Right?
Yes.
I mean, that is how an iPhone was created. I think Steve Jobs never asked people as to what they wanted in a phone. He just created a phone and gave it to them and says, use it. This is what I think you all need.
Yeah.
So that was a contrarian question that what is it that you believe strongly in that? And in that people don't agree with you on, right? So this contrarian question, and you are so correct in saying that ICF has worded it so beautifully that as coaches, we develop a quality of being sensitive
Mm.
to people's identity, their experiences, their environment, their beliefs, their values. I mean, they don't use the word principles, but values includes principles also. See how different we all are.
Yes.
And everybody works towards a certain identity. For me to transition myself from an identity of being a marine engineer to coach Sanjay Shesh, that transition was big. I had to work on my own mind and ask myself so many questions, perhaps I didn't know the answers to. And as I kept exploring myself, so as a coach, I think the first thing I did was to coach myself.
Mm.
I tried to define an identity as to what I would like to identify myself as. I uh, thought about all my experiences. What would I try to pick up from my experiences? And what are the experiences that I would like to create for myself? What is the environment I was subjected to while I was growing up? What is an environment that I would like to create and live in that kind of environment, right? What were the values that got me here? What are the values that I would like to impart on the people that I would like to coach or be a leader of? And beliefs. Honestly, if we, I think, talk about beliefs, we can have, days together. We can talk about beliefs. So, what are
Mhm.
your views on us as coaches developing a certain behavior to be very sensitive about
Mm.
our own uh, uh, identity, environment, experiences, beliefs, values, and not letting them conflict with the people whom we are talking to,
Mm.
right? So, what are your views on that?
Oh goodness, I feel like I could talk for days about this, Sanjay. I think there's so much here. And as I hear you talk about your journey from a leader who had answers to a leader who asked questions,
Absolutely.
I think there's a journey of first of all, we have to stop being threatened by what is different. And I think our a natural human default is to be threatened or guarded against anything at all that's different than what I think. We have to journey from that threat to a kind of humility that says, I'm one of many valid ways of being, thinking, living, believing. And that's such an expansive journey where we go from just being aware of ourselves. And that in and of itself is a huge journey. Like you just described, do I even know myself? Have I even thought about these things? Or do I just assume everybody's just like me and I don't need to think about it? What is what is unique about me? What makes me who I am? And then the journey from being willing to accept and honor that within myself to being able to be curious about, accept, respect, and honor that same journey. Well, literally for everybody else in the world, but
Absolutely.
first with those that we work with.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Huge journey. And such a, like I said, such an expansive journey. It's like coming out of a small dark room into the wide open sky.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So beautifully said. So, and the when you were talking about this, I just realized that it's just not coaching where these things matter. I think these things matter, and conversations are very important in life, according to me, because one misplaced word or one misplaced expression can break a relationship, make a relationship, make you $1 million or lose you $1 million. Right.
Right.
So if we, as irrespective of the role, whether you're a coach or anybody, if you become sensitive or at least become aware that you have to be sensitive to people's identity. If I'm talking to you, I say, Cindy is, firm on her identity. She respects herself. I should not disturb that.
Mm.
And if people around me realize that I'm sensitive to people's identity, I'm sensitive to their experiences, I'm
Mm.
sensitive to the environment that they belong to. Like I show respect to you having lived in Fiji, and your husband's from Africa. If I can be sensitive and I realize, wow, I mean, that diverse, brilliant. So if I can figure out something good out of the environment and learn something out of it, then values and beliefs, it's a vast ocean because
Yes.
people believe and their beliefs are very strong. One should not challenge them directly,
Mm.
but one should be sensitive and one should develop a curious mindset to understand where they're coming from.
Yes.
So, irrespective of the role that you play, if you learn this competency, we can open the world to us. And I can tell you, we can, just by virtue of adapting to this competency, we can make our conversation so friendly,
Mm.
approachable, and using this competency, we can create a space for each other to express freely because I know Cindy is very sensitive about where I come from. She's very sensitive
Mm.
about everything that I say. And I feel that, then I'll open out more. And whether you're a coach or you are an industry leader, if you can get the best out of your people willingly, there is no better work environment that you have created for yourself by just by virtue of observing one small competency of International Coaching Federation.
Yes. Yes. I love how you describe that because basically what we're saying is if you become a competent coach, you're going to be a better human being, no matter where you show up.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Very well said. I think that's the best way to summarize it, that you acquire a behavior of a coach and you land up being sensitive, curious, to know about people.
Mhm.
You're very curious to know more about people. And when you're curious about people, the people are very happy to tell you about themselves. And
Yeah.
curiosity should come with a lot of honesty.
Yes.
So ICF's foundation is to be, to respect integrity and honesty in all your interactions. So that is where they come from. So,
Yes.
these beautiful competencies that they've laid out. How I teach coaching, so I use this. I tell them these competencies are not to be followed. They are
Right.
tools provided which you can use whenever you need them. They're
Mhm.
tools for carrying out a very simple conversation.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Wow. And doesn't the world need some good conversations these days?
You said it. You very, very touchy topic nowadays. Yes, they
Yeah.
need
Yeah.
they need
Yeah.
sensitive conversations now. And
Yeah.
and the spirit of curiosity, and these are the things that we learn. So
Mm.
wonderful, wonderful, Cindy. Cindy, if there was one message that you would like to give to people who want to become coaches and people who are already coaches, what your message would be?
Oh, goodness. I think I would love it if aspiring coaches and coaches on their developmental journey would be open to grasping that this journey is not taking on weight in the sense of things we have to do if we're going to be a coach.
Yeah,
It's it's actually freeing of weight or limits as to who and how we can experience our own life and our own relationships. It's an opening. It's an expansive journey, and to always see it that way. So if on any given day it starts to feel more constrictive than expansive, just pause, maybe turn around and look and see if you've gotten going the wrong direction,
yeah, yeah.
because
Yeah.
if it can be expansive from day one, then you can experience all that coaching has to offer you as a developing human being and all that it has to offer to your fellow human beings.
Brilliant, brilliant. So, developing yourself as a human being. It's a beautiful line that you used just now. I mean, uh, I think coaching and curiosity are the two words that are synonymous, right?
Mhm.
Coaching as a whole develops your mindset of curiosity. You know, I personally believe that whoever I am today is based on my power of observation so far. But I didn't
Yes.
know about it. Now, once you become a coach, you realize and you increase your power of observation by being very curious. So, the people who are not coaches as yet, if they can develop a curious mindset, see there are so many things to observe from and learn from. And these things, by being curious, can only bring out the best, which is still unexplored within yourself, right?
Mm.
And for the people who are already coaches, I must congratulate all of them. And I must say, okay, wonderful. They are there. I think they're doing a very noble job and they should continue. And we as global ambassadors, if we can be of any assistance to them, we would welcome them to ask us as many questions as possible. Be curious, and
Mm.
not that we have answers to every question that they are asking, but we'll figure out, we'll find out. If we don't know, it's good. Like I said at the beginning, if they come to me and I don't know something, I
Mm.
feel earlier I used to get irritated that I did not know something. But today I get excited that, okay, I don't know, let me figure out. So I
Right.
learn something new. So for the
Yes.
coaches who are already coaches, wonderful, continue your great job, but always look for the zones and identify the areas of unknown and I don't knows, because that is where the journey of that unknown, exploration into the unknown, exciting things that are lying beyond that, that's what we need to discover, because life is too short. We have to find out too many things. We have to learn
Mm.
so many things. So coaching actually puts you on the right path to
Right.
learn so many things from the world. Right,
Yes,
Cindy? Anything else
absolutely.
that you would like to add?
I don't think so. It was well said, and I've been re-inspired by this conversation to continue to expand my space of not knowing, and excited to see what's out
Brilliant,
there.
brilliant, brilliant. Cindy, so thank you very much for
Thank
taking
you.
out time, and let's conclude this particular podcast now. Thanks a lot, Cindy.
Thank you,
Thank you
Sanjay. It's
very
been an
much.
honor. Thank you.